and the panic that occurred around this incident. This was an attack on the state, and the state not the state of Massachusetts, but I mean the federal government. It's an attack on the federal government, and the federal government has very serious ramifications in store for anyone who decides to do that, and that's playing out today.
That's interesting too, that in many ways, not that the prosecution did this, but perhaps it's what you could feel like as a juror, to know that this was a terrorism case is to know that in a normal case, you might be at a murder case, and you would know that A killed B, and maybe A killed B because A had a problem with B. In this case, A had a problem with you.
Right.
A could have very easily killed you if you were at the Boston Marathon, and you can imagine that that probably weighs heavily on a jury as well in a case like this.
Yeah, it's also important to recognize that two of the prosecutors in this case, Bill Weinreb and Al Chechnavati, they've been working in the terrorism area since 9/11. In the first week, they really have deep experience in this area, and I think it's played out in the presentation of this trial.
What are they feeling right now? I mean, this, as emotional as we talk about this being for people who are right there at the finish line, they have lived and breathed this now for more than 2 years.
Right. So there's a sense of relief. There's a sense of celebration. I mean, as serious as this is, there's a sense that they've done their duty and completed it. But it's always tempered by the tragedy.
Yeah, let me just jump in here for a second and get back to something we were discussing earlier, which is the guaranteed appeal that's going to now occur. And Harry Mannion, you were pointing out earlier that it's likely that that's going to focus on the multiple efforts to get a change of venue that the defense mounted, all denied by Judge O'Toole. That decision was affirmed on appeal, and the trial went ahead. You know, growing up in this area, I know you guys are locals, you've all experienced this. Outsiders don't always get it about us here in our little corner of paradise here. Initially, the stereotype was, well, this entire community was traumatized, everyone was affected by the lockdown. There's no way on earth you can get an impartial jury that will evaluate this. Then, as we moved into the sentencing phase, the outsider stereotype was, well, it's liberal Massachusetts. There's no way there won't be at least one of them who will go for life, and they won't be able to get the death penalty. I think both stereotypes were proven wrong. Your thoughts?
Well, I think that with respect to the change of venue, which is going to be the cornerstone of the appeal, because there is nothing else. They conceded liability. They conceded guilt. So there is nothing else, really. So if you want to flip this verdict, you want to flip the guilty, that's where you're going to focus. And you know, Judge O'Toole gave them at least 3 bites at the apple. Really, and as you pointed out, Jonathan, there was an interlocutory appeal. They got to the single justice of the First Circuit. Now that doesn't dispose of the matter, because they'll get a full shot at the full panel of the First Circuit. No question about that. But that's not going to really hunt. And from a legal standpoint, that is really change of venue motions in a case of national importance like this. Where would you try this? Idaho? Las Vegas, Miami, St. Louis. Where would you try this? And so I think that was the decision. I don't think that's the way to go. I think his best shot is to hopefully find a panel that just has a lot of problems with the death penalty. The problem with that is this statute, which is so rarely used, was crafted and written and was approved and signed